Hello class, this is Dr. D and I am recording this integrity lecture regarding evaluating a reference for you. So I hope you take advantage of this knowledge and information. It is going to be a brief lecture and I want to start with why you would evaluate references in the first place. And so I want to open up this link and it's not going to open. Here we go.
Oh, hey, Mike. Where are you up to?
Just diagramming this accident with my State Farm Pocket Agent app. You can also get a quote and pay your premium with this thing.
I thought State Farm didn't have all those apps.
Where'd you hear that?
The internet.
And you believed it?
Yeah. They can't put anything on the internet that isn't true.
Where'd you hear that? The internet.
Oh, look. Here comes my date. I met him on the internet. He's a French model.
Bonjour.
State Farm, more mobile than ever. Get to a better...
So, did you believe Mr. Mann was really a French model? If so, I believe you're going to have some trouble evaluating references. If you kind of figured out that he wasn't really a French model, you're probably going to be okay. Seriously. Why would you really want to evaluate resources and references anyway? Well, I can give you some very good reasons. To begin with, professionals use resources wisely, and that particularly applies to social work. We have limited time and effort, and that is one of our resources. So we want to make sure the information we're using is accurate and timely and good. We don't want to use inaccurate information. That is wasting our time and our clients' time. And you have to remember that information is only as good as the reference, as the source of it. So without any accurate information, the things you write every day, your typical outcomes such as court reports, client assessments and client records, professional recommendation letters for your clients, those things will be discounted or dismissed as people realize that the information you're giving them is not accurate or fair or best practice. They're going to dismiss or discount or just whatever you say. You don't want the clients you serve to suffer because you're not evaluating wisely. You want to make sure that you do evaluate wisely. In this particular module, you've got information on evaluating online resources in the form of the tutorial. It looks longer than it is. It is really brief, but it's specifically referencing websites because I noticed a lot of students have difficulty assessing the appropriateness of a website, so he has an online tutorial that I want you to go through. Also, there's a CRAP test video that gives you an acronym to help you remember how to assess a reference. CRAP means currency, is it up to date, for example, relevance, does it make sense with what you need it for, is it an accurate piece of information that's going to be useful for you, authority, who wrote this reference, is this person truly an authority on the matter, accuracy, is the reference accurate or does it have false information, and purpose. So that's what CRAP stands for, but I want you to watch the video because it is really good. There's also the criticalthinking.org website, which I'm going to talk about briefly in a minute, and the WKU Social Work Library Resource Guide, which has lots of video tutorials for you on finding appropriate online resources. You can do a full research paper without ever leaving your house. It's up to you to use the resources. So all of this information will help you as you think through how to evaluate a reference. But let me talk a little bit about critical thinking, because that website, I show you one web page on there and it may be a little confusing to you. This critical thinking web page that you're going to see holds intellectual standards and elements of thought. Each intellectual standard should be applied to each element of thought. On this web page, as you scroll over, each each element of thought and each intellectual standard, all you have to do is scroll over top of it with your mouse, and it's going to pull up a lot of questions for you to help you understand what each standard and element is. So it'll help you think through that particular standard and that particular element of thought. So let me give you an example. One element of thought is purpose. You should apply the intellectual standard of clarity to the purpose of your assignment as part of your quality evaluation process. If the purpose isn't clear, then you really haven't met that standard. And as you notice on our writing rubric, which you're going to use, I'm going to talk about feedback in my next lecture, then you're going to notice that this is one of the elements on our rubric, is that you need to have clarity. It's one of our 5 main important ideas on our rubric. So I want you to think about that as you're looking through the website, and I encourage you to use that over and over again. You should bookmark that particular web page, and it should become very useful to you. Now, if you don't like necessarily going back to a web page over and over, you can get a small pocket guide with each intellectual standard and all the elements of thought in it that you can just carry around or put in your book bag to use on a regular basis. But I highly encourage you to do that, because if you have successfully applied all of the intellectual standards to each element of thought for each assignment, you're going to get an A. If you've successfully done that, you will get an A. I have included here an additional web page. If you just click on this, it takes you directly to the Critical Thinking Community web page that is that will describe in great detail what I'm talking about here. All the elements of reference are included. The elements of thought are included here. And so it will help you reason through your paper. So this is a print-friendly version. It's on the criticalthinking.org website, and it's called Using Intellectual Standards to Assess Student Reasoning. So you might want to go there and visit that. I hope this has been helpful for you thinking through this week's material. I think it's pretty clear-cut, and I don't think you'll have a lot of problems with this. But I do want to make sure that you've been exposed to what this means and how specifically to use the criticalthinking.org website, because I know that's a little confusing when I just put it up there. I want you to, but again, you have a note-taking guide that you should be using with each of these different resources to help you use your critical thinking to determine what is most important. And so in this case, I'm just pointing it out to you for this one particular web page because students have been confused in the past. But I do hope that you look through all of these resources, and even everything all together should not take you more than an hour to review. And this is a very important concept. These concepts will help you in all of your classes throughout the master's program. So I hope this has been helpful, and I will see you again soon.